So Mark Hughes has the pole for that class, but expect another good competition in those more production-based Honda Civics at the back of the field. Right then, the back of the grid is now lined up, and we're ready to go racing for the second time this weekend. A 15-minute race for the Milltek Sports Civic Cup, and it is pole position for Ben Sharp. Alongside him, Jack Harding, who's going to get into Paddock Hill Bend as the race leader. It's time to find out. The red lights go out. Decent start from both the front row starters, actually, but particularly Sharp, who will definitely have the early advantage. Ryan Bensley going up the inside of Max Lewis for third place. They will be the first side-by-side battle as they head to the top of the hill and plunge down Paddock Hill Bend before climbing up the other side towards Druid. Sharp, the local man, leads the way. Morgan Bailey, that is, around the outside, tried to muscle his way into second place. That was Jack Harding he was going wheel to wheel with, and Jack is going to try and squeeze him out on the exit of Druid's corner. He can't quite get there, though, and Lewis is back up the inside at Graham Hill Bend. Morgan Bailey, sorry, that is, up the inside into Graham Hill and moves into second place.
Wow, look at that. And Luff there side by side as they go into the faster part of the circuit. But that was a great start when it's so many cars here, side by side into Surtees, coming into clearways. Butler in the 74, fending off. But now, look, you've got two cars side by side, and that's a bit of rubbing, but all looking very, very nice. This is looking spot on for a bit of racing. Caton as well is right in there.
Yeah, indeed. Out of the final corner, they come across the start-finish line. Max Lewis there on the outside of Dan Thackeray. Thackeray in the white and green car on the inside. And here comes Alistair Camp up the inside of everybody. And critically, that was an overtake on Matt Luff. So the top two from the championship last year have swapped over now. Alistair Camp ahead of Matt Luff, but they're still at the back end of the top 10 as the leading pack. Well, I say the leading pack, Paul. It's the entire field still, isn't it? Absolutely nose to tail.
Yeah, and it's still going on, isn't it? There's cars everywhere. Will Redford down the inside of Camp. Camp trying to get past him. Done job down at Graham Hill Bend as they now race towards the fast left-hander Surtees. Morgan Bailey in P2 in that red car you see flash through your screen. He's looking feisty, but Ben Sharp knows how to win round here. Ryan Bensley trying to get on the inside. That could be a move as that just shoots through your screen as well. So Bensley may be up to he's P4 as he's got Butler he's fending off there. For fourth place.
Yeah, it is. Look how close it is, though. Sharp can't get away. Morgan Bailey will certainly have a go here. He's not afraid to get his nose in there, but look at Jack Harding. Does exactly that to Bailey, actually. So for second place, they're wheel to wheel again. And Ryan Bensley is thinking, right, how can I benefit from all of this in fourth position? Bit of wing mirror bashing, a bit of a hip and shoulder there between Harding and Bailey. They're getting their elbows out here. And, of course, a short race, Paul. They've got to get on with it. That's not a good place to be touching.
Yeah, that's not getting on with it. That's driving into the back of someone there, isn't it? Jack Harding, a big slide. I tell you what, he was lucky with that. There's cars just too close to each other. Thackeray trying to get round the outside. Redford's having none of it. But Harding is battling with Morgan Bailey. This is definitely one to watch, but this is all good news for Ben Sharp.
Yeah, it's given him that tiny little breather over Harding, and we reckon that maybe Bailey is going to be the quickest in that leading bunch. So as long as he's trapped behind Harding, that's better for the race leader. Now, this does low. Alistair Camp, no contact. Max Lewis is sideways. Alistair Camp missed a gear, I think, or something. He suddenly slowed, and it almost caused carnage behind him.
Yeah, he did. He must have missed third to fourth gear, and big slide, and
that's
he
Redford.
catches it. Redford. What a move, but it's still going on as it comes to our next camera shot. Lights ablaze for Morgan Bailey in the red 26, and he is going to go for it.
That was drama, wasn't it? In 2 or 3 separate incidents there that somehow were not a lot bigger than they could have been. Right, Sharp leads, Harding second, Bailey third, still fourth for Bensley ahead of Butler and Thackeray. Not much has changed, actually, at the front of the field. It's behind where they're all getting a little bit silly. Redford was 7th at the line, but will, of course, have lost some positions and doesn't look that likely now to repeat his podium from yesterday. Sharp, I said a lap ago, Paul, might have been breaking away. That's no longer the case, is it? I think that perhaps the cars behind him have a bit more ultimate speed, but he's a canny racer and experienced in this category is Ben Sharp. He's not going to be an easy man to pass.
No, he's not. There's a lot of things going on here. Butler is having to defend. That's a job done. Thackeray down the inside in the 29. Brilliant. Dancing in on the brakes. Gets it cut off. Oh, look how close that was. Butler tried to get back down the inside, but it wasn't happening. This is happening, though. Bailey round the outside. Can he get the job done? I think he's got it done, you know, on Harding.
He's got the inside line down the hill, hasn't he? Let's see if he can make that stick into Graham Hill Bend. There's all sorts of carnage kicking off at Paddock Hill Bend. Bensley's got himself past Harding as well. So Bailey did get into second, and Ryan Bensley onto the podium at the moment. Bensley did have a podium in the first race at Cadwell Park. Looking for a second one here potentially. That's Thackeray into the back of Harding, who's sideways. Again, floors the throttle, get it saved. And actually, Thackeray might be the one who loses out.
Yeah, he's lost out there, isn't he? And that That's not good for him. He's looking so strong, but look at that big old wave across the front of him. And I'd be careful of that Max Lewis just telling him, mate, I'm down your inside, fella. Get away from me.
Yes, and he's still down the inside into Paddock Hill Bend, who gets out of that one ahead. It looks like it will be Lewis ahead of Thackeray. And then the silver and red car, the first of the silver and red cars in that group is George Alp Williams. He's running a lot better today. Into 7th place at the moment is the young Welshman, who had a cut brake line in qualifying yesterday, which saw him all the way down in the middle of the field, but he's worked his way through nicely, and there is the number 5 machine, keeping Alistair Camp at bay. Now, those two were the top 2 in the championship coming into the weekend, but Alp Williams has dropped down to 4th after that disappointing race yesterday. This is a much better showing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Morgan Bailey, a lot more aggressive than I remember last year, and he seems to be up the front a lot. Won at Cadwell, I remember, so he's right in that championship fight, and yeah, he really wants to get this job done. Bensley just dropping back a touch in P3, but the rest of them line astern as they come past our comms box into Paddock Hill Bend. But Ben Sharp knows how to win round here, but the other thing as well is Morgan Bailey knows how to drive. And who's that?
That is possibly, no, it can't be 29, that's Thackeray, not sure, but that's a Surtees, is it? Not quite sure where that car's ended up. There's another car, Paul Taylor, I think, has pulled off at Graham Hill Bend. Meanwhile, Alp Williams up the inside of Dan Thackeray. Somewhere out there is a yellow flag. We'll try and figure out exactly where that car has got to, but for now, the battling continuing as Alp Williams tries to move into 6th place, and of course, he's ahead of Camp, he's ahead of Luff at the moment. This is the race that Alp Williams really needs to rebound from slightly, having lost a lot of points yesterday. He needs to keep Matt Luff behind whilst also moving forward, and that's the way to do it. Throws it up the inside of Thackeray through clearways. He's got the overlap, and they'll go wheel to wheel now across the start-finish line. Yeah,
that's going to be a drag race, that is, and I don't think it's over yet, is it? Because look who's behind, the champ, Camp. He's having a bit of this as well in the number 1. They go across the strike. Is it going to be 2 places lost? Oh, he's nearly into the back of him, isn't he? But he gets the job done. That's 2 places lost there. But Thackeray coming back at him by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's that typical Paddock Hill switchback manoeuvre, isn't it? It works all the time. And yeah, he has got back up the inside. Camp is going to keep hold of the place, though, with Matt Luff just behind them. This is Max Lewis now. He's already under threat from Alp Williams. Alp Williams is on a mission here, and he knows that if he clears Max Lewis, who's still got over half the race to go, he could catch the leading group. The top 4 cars are not that far up the road, and there is a chance here for a podium result for Alp Williams. They're in the top 3. Sharp still leading, Bailey second and Bensley third. Looks like Sharp's settling down a bit now, isn't he? He's got the temperature into the tyres, he's got himself into a rhythm, and Bailey not as close now as he has been previously.
No, he's not, and Bensley in that P3 position seems like he's to and fro-ing, but you were talking about Alp Williams, looks like he might get the job done. Those cars looking strong as they go into Paddock Hill Bend. But again, that looks like a replay of last time, doesn't it? But he's in the back of him. Look at that. Round the outside, keeps it pinned. Don't come across too early, but job done. Your leader, Ben Sharp, looking nice and steady. But Bailey in P2 looks like he's got a better front end. And also, Ryan Bensley is right in there as well.
Now, look at this. Camp was not able to follow Alp Williams through that time. So actually, there is now a car between George and Alice. So that's good news for Alp Williams. He might now be able to make an escape without having the reigning champion right on his tail. In the points, by the way, Matt Luff has an 8-point advantage over Alistair Camp coming into this race, but Luff is struggling a bit in 9th place, though he's up the inside of Thackeray there. The silver and yellow car is Matt Luff, runner-up in last year's championship and currently championship leader, despite having not had a win, but he's only been off the podium once all season. It looks like this might now be the second time he's off the podium potentially, but he is making progress up the inside of Thackeray, who just seems to keep leaving the door open at clearways, and that's one of the best places to make a move, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So you need to be setting it up for the corner before just getting good drive out. But Ben Sharp, very impressive. I don't know why I'm saying that, because Ben is a winner and he's a fast kid, but Morgan Bailey's car to me just looks like he's got such a good front end. He can put it wherever he wants it. So yeah, this is getting tasty now, isn't it? Look at this. Lewis into the back of Camp coming in to Graham Hill Bend, and just Camp, with all of his experience, just gets the steering straightened up, drives out.
Yeah, so Camp is now into 6th then, ahead of Max Lewis. Max trying to get it back. There go the race leaders, and this the battle that's going on behind. So Camp now sets sail after Alp Williams, and Dan Thackeray does to Max Lewis what has been done to him a few times in this race and slips up the inside at clearways. That was a nice move. Max, far too late, tries to close the door on the exit of the corner, and they run side by side across the stripe. Here comes Matt Luff behind them. We're getting a double slipstream. Which way does he go? To the inside, the outside, or up the middle? He's going to go to the inside behind Dan Thackeray. Thackeray late on the brakes, but Lewis is not afraid of hanging it out round the outside. It doesn't work for him, but he's got bravery as that lad.
He has, and that was well brave. That round the outside of Paddock in any car is brave, but when you've got a dancing rear end and the rear end's jacked up, you've got one right rear stopping in mid-air, it's a difficult one. Butler fully involved with Lewis.
Production class, by the way, they're still having their battle further down the order, just to give them a mention, and it is Louis Hounsell who leads from Reeve in second position, but there are about 4 seconds between them, so Hounsell looking good for a victory. That would be his first win of the year if he hangs on, because Alfie Jenkins has won every race in the production category up to this point, so we're not missing any fighting there, but we do look like we might have a new winner in the production class in about 5 minutes' time, because that's how long is left of the race. Ben Sharp with a... Now, is that the window that's come loose on the left-hand side of the car? That's a distraction, if nothing else. And it is the kind of thing that could be picked up by the clerk of the course.
Yeah, that's a distraction, isn't it? So we got a car off, I think it's on the Link Road for the Grand Prix circuit.
McDonald.
That was Daniel McDonald, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. McDonald off at Clearways Corner. So, all going on. But yeah, keep an eye to the left-hand side. It is loose, that, isn't it, Paul, I think?
It is loose, yeah. And they're plastic, these side windows. But, yeah, they can come dislodged. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, just having a little scanning on the screen. But yeah, if anyone gets a good eye on that, they're not going to be too happy. But yeah, it's not too bad, isn't it? And Ben Sharp now starting to pull away.
Very tight line there out of Clearways Corner. It does seem to be giving him good traction, though. Across the line he goes. Bailey second place. The lap time's pretty even, but as Paul said, it is a slight advantage now to Sharp. That was a 54.11 for him, 54.16 for Bailey, 0.12 for Bensley, but a new fastest lap there, Paul, for Dan Thackeray in 7th position. So again, he's coming on strong as we get towards the second part of the race, and closing in slightly again on Alistair Camp and George Alp Williams ahead of him. Out towards Graham Hill Bend they go then. We've got 3.5 minutes left of the race, and there goes the recovering Will Redford up the inside of the number 66 car of Alfie Threlfall, who's moved up from the production class where he raced successfully last year, and Threlfall with the 69 car behind him of Ben Mills. Those three all started quite close together. Race leaders, though, out through Clearways Corner, and we've got a side-by-side there, but that is actually Jeff Oldham going a lap down to Morgan Bailey. Bailey just starting to be caught here by Ryan Bensley. Now, I know, Paul, you work with Ryan quite a lot with a little bit of driver coaching, and he's obviously been listening, because in the last couple of laps here, he's reeling in the second place man, and he's certainly going to want to have a go here for an even higher step on the podium if he can.
Yeah, he'll definitely give it a go. He knows Morgan Bailey pretty well from running in the same team last year, so he'll know what it's all about. Morgan Bailey's car, though, has looked super special. I'm surprised. You can see Ryan running out wide there, so Ryan is trying to keep up with the traction that Morgan's got, but Ben Sharp's got this done, and Morgan Bailey is looking like someone who is now not attacking for the lead. He's now defending for second place.
Yeah, he's watching his mirrors more now, isn't he, in that second-placed car. There's Harding still fourth. George Alp Williams is not catching him now at the rate at which he was. Williams actually was about a tenth slower on the previous lap than the black number 43 car, so a decent showing this from Jack Harding, and again, more laps he does in that car, the quicker he is likely to get. Through paddock we go then. We've got on my timing screen 2 minutes to go. Having a few internet issues here at Brands Hatch, so if that is slightly out of sync, I apologise. When the checkered flag flies, though, that will be the end of the race. We know that much. Ben Sharp will be hoping to see that checkered flag very, very soon, because just as we said, he had a bit of an edge over Morgan Bailey. The gap almost seems to come down slightly at the start of this lap, as Ben absolutely hurls the Pro Alloys Civic over the curb at Graham Hill Bend and down into the left-hander at Surtees. Quick left-hander right over the curb, flick it back to the right through the kink at McLaren, and then hard on the brakes into Clearways. And Bailey is well up for this. I think he's managed to have a bit of a word with himself here, and with what should be 2 laps to go, he's as close now to Ben Sharp as he has been for quite some time. Across the line we go, and Bailey, well, let's see what the lap times are. It is a 54.3 for the leader, a 54.1 for Bailey. He's well up for this.
He is, isn't he? And I tell you what, I said he was defending for second place. He's now definitely attacking for the win, isn't he? And look at the window on that car. That is a worry. I mean, no one's saying anything at the minute, and I hope they don't for Ben's sake, But that will be something that will definitely catch your attention as you're entering high-speed corners. But the car of Ben Sharp's looking right on its toes, looking good.
He's had limited running in that car, so they have been fighting a few setup things over the weekend. They may well have made some changes between race 1 and 2, and they've worked initially, but perhaps at the end of the race they're struggling a bit as Morgan again snatches a break. We're going through on to what should be the final lap of the race this time. Ben Sharp has just over 1.2 miles of defending left to do before he's able to claim another victory in the Civic Cup at his home race. Through they will come then, on to what should be the last lap of racing, and Ben Sharp that time around a 54.17, a 54.17 for the second place driver as well, and Ryan Bensley a 54.0, so they're all lapping within a couple of tenths of each other. The field this year is so evenly matched, and that makes overtaking difficult. You've really got to go for a bit of a lunge.
Oh, a bit of a lunge. That's a big sideways from the leader. Wow, and look at that. He's actually pulled about 3 car lengths and a massive slide. The rears just give up. He runs wide at the apex. Morgan Bailey smells blood in that red and white 26.
I think maybe Ben Sharp's feeling the pressure here slightly, isn't he? Because on the final lap, a couple of mistakes creeping in. He's got one more braking point to get right. Leaves the door open. Is Bailey going to try and get up the inside? He certainly tried, but he was just a car length or so too far back, and that should now be it for Ben Sharp, who comes out of the final corner. The checkered flag is waiting for him, and it is going to be a race victory in the Milltek Sports Civic Cup for Ben Sharp, who punches the air in delight. Morgan Bailey threw everything at that on the final lap or so, but comes just short in second, with Ryan Bensley rounding out the podium places. Jack Harding in fourth, and George Alp Williams finally getting his weekend back on track a little bit with a top 5 finish, but a bit like what we saw in TCR UK earlier on. The third race grid is based on the second fastest lap times in qualifying, so George finds himself again deep in the field for that race. Alistair Camp, a fairly anonymous drive to 6th, made a couple of good moves, but was sort of just following out Williams through the field for much of that race. 6th for the reigning champ, with Thackeray 7th and Matt Luff in 8th. So Luff should hang on to the championship lead there, because he's only going to be outscored by Camp by about 3 points, and he was 8 points ahead going into that race. Max Lewis rounds out the top 9, and 10th position goes the way of Mills. But it is a delighted Ben Sharp who will head into the pit lane as a race winner. A really lovely guy is Ben, one of the true nice guys of motor racing, and he isn't able to get out and race quite as regularly as he'd like these days, but when he does turn up in the championship, he is a force to be reckoned with. Yes, it's a reverse grid race victory, but when you have so little time in the car as Ben does, that will still feel like a genuine win. He gets a round of applause there from Alfie Jenkins, who I noticed has not finished the race. So in the production class, Alfie Jenkins, the championship leader who has won every race in that class so far, doesn't get to the flag this time round. It means the production victory does go to Louis Hounsell by 2.8 seconds in the end over Aaron Reeve in second place, and Dave Marshall repeats the third placing class that he had yesterday. So that's the production category. Not quite as close that time in production, partly, I imagine, because of the reversed grid. But hopefully tomorrow, later on this afternoon for race 3, when they're all back in normal grid order, if you like, we'll see a return of some really close competition in that class. It was close competition at the front, though, and it's Ben Sharp who comes out on top and gets himself another race win here at Brands Hatch in the Milltek Sports Civic Cup, and he is a very happy driver. The Pro Alloys liveried car. They've got quite a setup in the paddock of Pro Alloys, and if you are here trackside, I do recommend you're going to have a wander around the outer paddock at some point. There's some really interesting machinery there, not just from the Time Attack and Drift cars, but also the Civic Cup and TCR machines that are waiting in the paddock. And Ben Sharp will be heading over there, a very happy man, and he'll be taking with him a race winner's trophy. Handshake there with Morgan Bailey, who's all smiles as well. I think Morgan's happy with the second position that he's got. Bailey, so far this year, has had a win at Cadwell in the third race, but that's his only appearance on the podium up to this point. And Morgan Bailey happy to get himself back onto that top 3. We've got third place for Ryan Bensley. That's an interview I'm looking forward to. He and Paul, good mates, and Paul has already headed down there to hear, hopefully, from our top 3 drivers. And then, in the production class, it's Louis Hounsell who gets himself the race victory, a teammate to Alfie Jenkins, so there is something to celebrate for the Jenkins race preparation team. But unfortunately, Alfie himself is a non-finisher. Hounsell, though, who was on the podium yesterday with a second-place finish, which at the time was his best result of the season. He's now gone and bettered that by getting his first class victory in the production category. So our second Civic Cup race of the weekend is complete, but again, they have triple header this weekend.
Milltek Sports Civic Cup. It didn't seem that long ago, actually, that we were chatting. It was last time here, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. We had a chat here in Donington last year, so thought I'd have another one with you, basically. I was missing you.
Cracking race, though.
Yeah, it was good. That is the scariest Civic I think I've ever drove. It was trying to kill me at every opportunity. From yesterday, I had the most understeer I've ever had, and so I think we've got to calm it down a little bit now, because I threw this paddock hill bend. It is so sketchy.
Talk about oversteer. You were speaking about no front grip with understeer, but your oversteer into Druids, I thought that was game over, mate.
Yeah, it felt like it every lap. Every lap I was just praying. I could see Morgan, I could see I was getting much better exits, and I just had to almost like back it up into the corner, knowing that because I was getting such a good exit, he was nowhere near to attack onto the corner. Trying almost go in a bit steady, just get the exit every time, and just try and hold the gap and try and bring the Pro Alloys car back home in P1 for the boys.
Well, I couldn't see it, mate, because it's not very colourful, that car at all, is it? It's like...
We're going to put a bit more colour on it for next time, I think.
You're going to have to, mate. You're blind the commentators. Well done, fella. Absolutely brilliant. Great stuff from Ben Sharp. Look at these two. Morgan, you come here first. You can go away. Ryan Bensley can go away. Morgan Bailey, that was headlights on, bit of tapping, got the job done. The win was on, though, mate.
It was close. It was close. Ben was struggling with the setup of the car. It was moving around a lot. My steering wheel was 90 degrees out. I was struggling with the tracking, but no daft manoeuvres on Ben. I did well to come from fifth where I was, so I was happy with that. Ryan was hot on my tail, but I kept him at bay. Yeah.
It looked like a bit of a yo-yo effect, actually. It looked like Ryan was coming to you, then he'd drop away. Yeah. I thought that you were just having to worry about first place. Then you had to worry about Ryan, then he disappeared, and you worried about the win again?
Yeah, we kept closing up to Ben now and then. He was struggling. There was a couple of places I was a lot quicker than him, but he always got a good exit onto the start-finish straight, and I think that's what kept him in the lead, really. Yeah.
Championship's looking strong, mate.
Yeah, we're not doing bad. Had a DNF at Cadwell and a lower result, but yeah, we're not doing bad. Yeah.
Top man. Send my best to your dad, and I'll let you go. Ryan Bensley, let's just... Oh, hello, mate. Sorry, 1 sec. I've just got to get this guy here. Look at this idiot. This is Ryan Bensley. Nobody wants to be like Ryan Bensley. Sorry, I was just doing a text to my mum saying that you'd won. Well done, and your dad's here as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Paul.
Yeah, because I won it. Ryan, you did well, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had a torrid year last year with things breaking and stuff. Cadwell, we had a good result as well, but we weren't on the handling at Cadwell. We're only about 80% there, so not totally happy with the car still. But, you know, I'm driving a lot better. I've sat back and thought about how I'm driving. You know, it is third place, and a win would be lovely, but it's so close around here. I was catching Morgan, but it weren't enough to put a move on him that would not take us both out of the race, you know. I don't want to take people out. I just want to pass someone cleanly if I can, and sometimes you have to be calculated and say, look, you know, we can get a decent third. A win will come at another round when we're developing the car a bit more. The car looked good, mate. It was a bit of a yo-yo effect, though, wasn't it, with Morgan? Yeah, it seemed like my tyres went off, and then his went off, and then he come back. I got up onto the back of him, but I just signalled him. I was like, mate, just keep going, because I'm not fast enough difference to get past you. But yeah, it was a good race though. So, you know, Zest Motorsport and PAB Mortgages and my dad, who's still my mechanic, you know, just done a top job on the car, and it's once we get to grips with it, I think we're going to be strong, definitely strong. We'll see what happens, mate. But yeah, I need to speak to you about mortgage, actually, so we'll have a chat later on. Well done, fella. I'm not going then. Okay. Have mortgage out. I'm going mortgage out, yeah. Good man. Top man. Right, let's speak to a couple of these production guys. How's it going? Which is your car? You are the winner. Yeah. What a guy, Louis, you lad. What an absolute hero, mate. That was such a cool drive. Yeah, yeah, it was a good drive from me. I had an okay initial start, but going down into Paddock Hill, I saw that there was loads of space on the outside, so I just went around the outside of loads of people, and my teammate Alfie followed me through. And then a couple of laps later, he got past, and then he got, unfortunately, had a collision with one of the Cup cars, and that allowed me to get through. And I kept my pace up for a bit, looking in my mirrors to see if there was any production cars near. Well, they're noisy, aren't they? Yeah. When I knew I had a gap, I just dropped back and ran my own race and made sure I finished. Top man. Well, listen, that was a cracker for you, man. I'm really proud of you. Well done, fella. Thank you, man. Wicked. Aaron, how are you, boss? Hey, was that a steady one, or was you fully involved? That was a full involved race.
First podium.
It is first podium, first weekend in the Civics. Had a ball joint foul yesterday, so it knocked us out of any contention. Busy weekend, we're doing time attack as well, and a one-time attack yesterday. So, yeah.
Mate, you've had a right result then, haven't you? So you're not out in this time attack?
We're out now.
you
practice. So it's not...
Well, listen, you crack on. First podium in Milltek Sports Civic Cup. Top man.
Cool. Thank you.
Well done. Spot on. Hello, fella. How are you, David? You good?
Not too bad at all. Quite a surprise result there, if I'm honest. P3 and crossed the line and called me in here. I'm thinking, fair play. Great race, but I just feel like start of the race, you know, these lads at the front of production, like they are really good racers, just we don't have the budget to go up a level. And, you know, the start of the race, we're getting boxed in and then we're trying to battle amongst cars that aren't quite as quick at the start of the Batter Cup, and it makes it really difficult because all it takes is them to leapfrog 2 cars and then you've got so much to try and then redo. So very difficult, makes it very hard strategy-wise, but can't complain. Great race.
It looked great from the comms box from what we've seen, and it's a difficult place to race round here, isn't it? You need a little gap to help you on your way, don't you?
Yeah, a little gap or a little bit of commitment, one of the two. Yeah, I had a great battle with Mark in the other FN2. We've got a lot of development to do on them. They're not quite where they need to be, but they're getting there. We're just struggling with the diff now. Like, we get on the power and it's just, it doesn't get the power down like the EPs do. So we're struggling a bit there. But other than that, you're right in what you say. There's only real 2 proper overtaking opportunities, and you've got to set them up so far in advance. So, yeah, you can quickly pass laps off and not make any progress, really. So, yeah.
Well, it's a good old race, mate. Good to see you up there. So we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, cheers, Paul.
Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, great to hear from the drivers down on the podium at the end of our second Milltek Sports Civic Cup race of the weekend. They'll be back out again for their third and final race at 5 o'clock later on today, so don't miss that. Plenty more racing still to come here from Brands Hatch.